Sit back and throw one back with your pinky in the air and a middle finger to the world, and join me, the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, as we look back on this day in pro wrestling history. But before we do, put that drink down, like, share, and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get our wrestling history on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is October 25th, and we're going to start off as we always do on a positive note. That's right. These are your pro wrestling birthdays. 1965, to Cold Scorpio. 1966, I wonder if he still has Moppy, Perry Saturn. 1967, the luchador known as Latin Lover. And last but not least, 1979, former WWE talent, Rosa Mendez. And we're going to keep that positivity train a-rolling. That's right, these are your pro wrestling history highlights for October 25th. Jumping in the Wayback Machine and going all the way to 1910, where we see Henry Oderman defeat Frank Gotch in Minneapolis, Minnesota for the American Heavyweight title, ending Gotch's third reign. Fast forwarding 45 years to 1955, Ronnie Etcherson and Ray Stevens defeat Gene Knitsky and Lord James Blears to win the San Francisco version of the NWA World Tag Team titles. 3 years later in 1958, Jack Dempsey defeats Alan Colbeck in Newcastle, England for the European Welterweight title. Grooving into the 60s, 1961. Lord James Blears defeats Curtis Iokea for the NWA Hawaii Heavyweight title in Honolulu, Hawaii. Moving 5 years to 1966, Jose Lothario and Eddie Graham defeat the Infernos to win the Florida version of the NWA World Tag Team titles in Tampa, Florida. Sticking with Jose Lothario, but disco ducking to 1972, where he defeats Stan Stasiak to win the NWA Texas Heavyweight title in San Antonio, Texas. That next year in 1973, Mike George and Jim Brunzell defeat Great Togo and Tokyo Joe for the Central States version of the NWA World Tag Team titles. Moving ahead another year to 1974, Victor Riviera and Dino Bravo defeat Tony Rocco and Raul Reyes for the vacant NWA America's Tag Team titles in Los Angeles, California. Moving to 1976, Jesse the Body Ventura and Playboy Buddy Rose defeat Dutch Savage and Jimmy Snuka to win the NWA Pacific Northwest Tag Team titles, ending Savage and Snuka's fourth reign. Our final stop in the 70s, 1978, Ed Wozniak and Buddy Rose defeat Dean Ho and Ron Starr to win the Roy Shire promoted San Francisco version of the NWA World Tag Team titles in Sacramento, California. Grabbing my boombox and going to 1980, Jay Youngblood and Joe Lightfoot defeat Rip Oliver and Fidel Cortez for the NWA Pacific Northwest Tag Team titles. Moving ahead to 1981, Kerry Von Erich and Terry Orndorff win the NWA America's Tag Team titles. Making 3 stops in 1982, first, Paul Jones defeats Jack Briscoe for the NWA Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight title in Fayetteville, North Carolina, ending Briscoe's fourth reign and starting his second. Our second stop in 1982, in Memphis, Tennessee, the Fabulous Ones, Steve Kern and Stan Lane, defeat Koko Beware and Bobby Eaton for the AWA Southern Tag Team titles. Our third and final stop in 1982, David Schultz defeats Bob Armstrong in Birmingham, Alabama to win the NWA Southeastern Heavyweight title. Bumping ahead 2 years to 1984, Harley Race wins the NWA Central States Heavyweight title from Hacksaw Jim Duggan in Kansas City, Kansas, beginning his 8th reign. Moving ahead 1 year to 1985, Wayne Ferris, the future Honky Tonk Man, and Ron Starr defeat Kerry Brown and Hubert Gallant in a tournament final to win the vacant Stampede International Tag Team titles in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Grabbing my flannel and going to the decade of grunge, 1992. WCW Halloween Havoc took place at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the Civic Center. The main event sees Sting defeat Jake Roberts in a coal miner's glove match. This was a spin the wheel, make the deal match, in which Sting spun a wheel to decide the type of match it would be. The match ended when Cactus Jack brought a cobra out for Jake to use, but Sting hit Jake with the glove, and the cobra bit Jake's neck while Sting pinned him. God bless WCW. 6 years later in 1998, WCW is back at it with Halloween Havoc, this time taking place in Las Vegas, Nevada at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, with a main event of WCW World Champion Bill Goldberg defeating Diamond Dallas Page with a jackhammer. Also on this card is Hulk Hogan defeating the Ultimate Warrior after Horace Hogan hit Warrior with a chair. Making 2 stops in 1999, Ivory defeats the Fabulous Moolah for the WWF's women's title in Providence, Rhode Island, ending Moolah's 7th and final title reign. Our second stop in 1999, Bret Hart defeats Bill Goldberg for the United States heavyweight title in Phoenix, Arizona, ending Goldberg's 2nd run with the title and starting Hart's 4th. On the same show, Conan and Billy Kidman defeated Harlem Heat for the WCW Tag Team titles, ending the Heat's 10th and final Tag Team title reign. Those were your short but sweet pro wrestling history highlights for October 25th. I'm the Eclectic Gentleman Stephen Watts, and we'll see you tomorrow.